everyone, it's Kristen, and today, as promised, I'm going to be showing you how to do the Short Box Series on the stability ball. As I've mentioned before, when you purchase your Aero Pilates Reformer, it does not come with the sitting box. That's a separate purchase you have to make, and it costs about $150. Now that doesn't really work well for me when I'm trying to make my home Pilates studio on a budget, and I've paid less than $100 for most of my equipment. I think all of it pretty much. So I would rather just go out and buy a stability ball at like TJ Maxx or Marshall's. I could find one for about $10, or you could pay a little bit more if you go to a sporting goods store or maybe even Target, and it works just as well. So a little bit about purchasing the right size ball for you. They are measured in centimeters. So the ball that I'm currently sitting on right now is a 55 centimeter ball, and that's good for most people about 5'4" and under. It's a little bit small for me because I'm 5'6", and the reason I know it's small is because if you kind of see from the side here, my hip is sitting a little bit lower than my knee, and ideally they would be level with each other. So I would ideally need the 65 centimeter ball, but they didn't have one at the store when I went to go get one, so I settled for the 55 centimeter, and it works just fine. If you're closer to 6 feet tall, you might want the 75 centimeter ball. So after you get your ball, make sure that you inflate it to the proper size. The instructions give you the measurements to make sure that you do get it to the proper size after you inflate it. You want to select a location that when you're doing this series, you can place your feet up against something that's not going to move. So either a really heavy object, like I'm going to be using my Pilates chair today, or even against a wall, just something solid that's not going to move. Because if you've ever done the Short Box Series on a reformer, you know at the end of the reformer there's a black strap, it's called the safety strap, that you place your feet under, and it pretty much holds you in place so that you don't just continue to go back and fall off the back of the box, or in this case off of the ball. Now, reaching your feet into something is not going to stop you from completely falling back over the ball, but it gives you feedback and something to reach into, something to push into so that you can work your opposition, and then that will help you with more stability. So as we get started here, I'm going to turn myself to the side. So I'm going to use the back base of my Pilates chair here. I'm going to make sure that my heels are still down on the floor, but my toes are up against the chair. So if you are doing this up against a wall, you want to do the same thing. You want to make sure your toes are up against the wall, but your heels are actually on the floor. Then the second thing is I'm going to sit a little bit forward of the top of the ball so that I'm not directly on top. And then as you set up your feet, choose about a good hip distance apart, because if you were using the strap on the reformer and you were pushing it open, that's about how wide it would be anyway. So from there, as we get ready for this Short Box Series, we're just going to do the basics today, and the basic exercises on the short box or on the ball that we're going to do here, work your spine in all 4 planes of movement. So we're going to do flexion, extension, side bending, and rotation. And you can usually insert this series after you've done the stomach massage on the reformer, but you can choose to just do these exercises as standalone if you just want to loosen up your spine a little bit, and of course it works the strength of your abdominals. So, getting started with the round back here. So again, I'm sitting a little bit forward on the ball, and I'm allowing my knees to stay a little bent. You don't want your legs to be all the way straight because that will be bad for your balance. So I'm going to lightly hug my arms around the bottom of my ribs. So the round back here, we want to think about making a capital letter C. So how I'm going to do that is if I start up tall, and I make sure I first establish the good lift of my spine, I'm going to curl my tailbone under just a little bit so I come just barely behind my sit bones. And from there I might round my upper back just a little bit forward. So I'm looking to make a capital letter C shape through my spine, not a lowercase c. A lowercase c would look like this. I'm collapsing in my spine, there's no support from my abdominals, and I'm putting the curve in my upper back where I don't need it. I need the curve lower in my back. So if I set up again, come up nice and tall, and I start a little curl under at my hips, little tiny curl at my upper back, not too much, And in doing that, I can already feel my abdominals pulling in nice and deep. So from there, keeping legs stable, make sure you don't let your legs straighten at all. Start to gently round back on the ball so you really feel your pelvis move into the back of the ball. And then coming back forward. Stay that nice lightly round at the top, and you'll take an inhale as you go back. And exhale as you come forward. As you go back, try to make sure that you feel your legs are staying nice and even, and you don't feel like one is pushing more than the other and one feels like it's going to just pop off of whatever you're reaching it into. And we'll do one more there. Okay, so then the next one is going to be the straight back, so that works your extension. So we're going to do stacked hands, palm over palm, against the center back of your head. Now, if your shoulders are not happy with this position of your arms, you can always cross your arms in front of your chest. So if you are doing the center back of your head, I have to push my ponytail up just a little bit to get there. Fully stacked palms, don't interlace your fingers and don't just stack your fingers, fully stack your palms. So I'm going to press my head back into my hands and really lift my spine up tall. I feel like I'm tractioning my neck up a little bit. From there, I'm going to start to hinge back with a flat spine and then come back up tall. Now, even though I'm hinging back and my spine is trying to stay straight, I still have to curl my pelvis under just a little bit. That might seem counterintuitive if you're trying to stay completely straight. But the idea is a stable spine and a mobile pelvis. We'll take two more here. And the same breathing pattern. Inhale, go back until you find that little shake of truth. And exhale as you come back up tall. So now we're going to do the side bending exercise, which is called side reach. And this is kind of a little take on side reach, a bit of a modification, so that we don't have to use any props, because normally when we're in the studio we hold onto the pole. So I'm going to show you how to do it without. I'm going to offer two modifications as well for shoulder issues. So the first one would be stretching the arms up on the high diagonal. So I'm a little bit pitched forward on the front edges of my sit bones, not too terribly much. I feel really long through both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and grab onto one forearm, not up by the wrist, but actually the forearm. I'm going to create a little tension there, pressing my forearm out against my fingers so that I create that muscle tone. And then from there, my gaze is just softly forward, so I'm not looking up at my hands at all. I'm just kind of following where my head is in line with my spine. And then from there, I'm going to feel like I pull my arm up and out of my side and then gently drag it across my body, not away from. And then coming back to the top, I'm going to grab onto the other forearm and pull it up first, create the tone, and then drag it across. And I'll do one more time each way like this before I offer the modification. I'm trying to stay as equal on my sit bones as possible, so I'm not shifting all my weight onto one side. Nice and long through both sides. So your modification would be, if your shoulders hurt, is to wrap your arms around your waist. Feel like you're picking your ribs up away from your hips. And then you gently spill over to one side like you're trying to spill water out of your ear. And then back to the center, keeping that nice lifted waist, spilling to the other side. And back to the center. So we'll do one more each way. And center. And center. So typically we would do 3 each side. I'm going to turn to the front just so that you can see what exactly I'm doing, since it's hard to see from the side. So just imagine my feet are set up the same way. So with the arms extended one, so grabbing onto that forearm, pulling up, reaching across, long through both sides. Just a gentle side bend. I don't want to collapse, so I'm still going up as much as I'm going over. Back to the center, creating that tone, pulling up, reaching across, back to the center. If I had my arms around my waist, it would look like a big lift in the waist first, and then a gentle side bend, spilling water out of your ear. Back to the center, a gentle side bend the other way, and back to the center. All right, so then from there, we're going to add the twist series. So I'm going to show you how to do the twist first, and especially if you're just starting out with these exercises, you might want to stay with the twist for a while, and then we'll add the second part, which is the hinge back in the twist. If you have any back issues, I probably would eliminate the hinge part of this. So either hands behind your head, or you can do hands across your chest again. I'm going to do hands behind head. So the twist part first. So I'm going to lift up tall again. I'm going to find the center of my sit bones. I'm going to start to exhale and twist to one side, trying to stay as tall as I can and really turn around my waist. And then come back to the center. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the other side, stay tall, head into hands, and inhale back to center. Now as I'm twisting, I'm trying to make sure that my hips remain stable. So now I have a stable pelvis and mobile spine. So what I don't want is my pelvis to come with me as I'm twisting. And if I come back to the center here, I'll show you what that would look like if I allowed my pelvis to come with me. See how that leg towards you is starting to straighten? That means my pelvis turned with my spine. So again, it's the idea of keeping both knees bent as I twist, and back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side, and inhale back to center. Now adding the hinge part of it, or the twist and reach. I would twist to one side, hold it, and then add a small hinge back through the center of my hips, and then come up in the twist, back to the center. And it would be an exhale, twist the other way, hold the twist, small hinge back, up in the twist, and back center. And again, we'd exhale, twist, rotate your pelvis to hinge back, up in the twist, back center. We'll do one more here. Exhale, twist, rotate pelvis to go back, and then up and back center. And you can bring your arms down and give your shoulders a couple rolls up around in each direction. And then walk your feet away from that solid object. So you walk yourself back up to the top of the ball. And that is it. Then you can proceed to do the rest of the series on the reformer. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon in the next video. Bye.